What's important to know about the Big Six is that it can be applied to almost everything in your life, at least in part. You might not always be creating a project when you get to the synthesis step, but you will for sure be able to apply the other steps to pretty much everything that you do. So here's an example of why we're spending so much time on the Big Six and why it matters so much to you. Let's just say that you're coming to the library to check out a book. How are the Big Six steps going to help? Well, think about it for a second. If I need a book, then my task definition, step 1 of the Big Six process, is for me to decide what is the task. Do I need a specific kind of book for my teacher from a certain genre? Do I need a book that's just for pleasure? And if it is for pleasure, what am I interested in? Do I want fantasy? Do I want a mystery? There's so many choices. So it's important to sit down and actually define your task, like step 1 of the Big Six says, before you would come to the library, so that you don't spend a bunch of time wandering around confused. Then I would use my information-seeking strategies to figure out how I'm going to find that book. Am I going to browse the online catalog? Am I going to just wander around the shelves in the sections that I know that I'm interested in? Am I going to look up book reviews? Am I going to get on the online catalog and see what my classmates say about this book under the reviews section? There are so many choices, so it's really important to figure that out. Then step 3 of the Big Six, location and access, really at that point would be pretty easy because I've already thought about where my book is, what kind of book that I need, and how I'm going to find that book. So then you would just have to come to the library and find that book. Or if you were already here on the catalog, walk over to the shelf where it is. Use of information is going to be a little bit different in this aspect. Since you're just checking out a book, really, you've already done most of the work. That's going to be your engage section, where you're going to actually be engaged with the material. So you're going to read the book. And because you were probably just reading that book for pleasure, then you're going to skip the synthesis step. You don't really need to present anything. But if you were to get in the online catalog and write a review over that book for your friends, that would be amazing. And then you would be creating a product about that book. Whether you liked it or not, you would get to share those feelings with your classmates, and that's going to help them out a little bit on. Also, you're still going to do an evaluation phase, because at the end of a book, you are going to consider how well your process went. Was that book too hard? Was it entertaining? Was it boring? Because what you feel about that book at the end is going to determine whether you're going to get another book like that when you come to check out again, or whether maybe you'll start over with the Big Six the next time you come to the library and end up with a slightly different book. So that's just one example of how the Big Six can apply to your everyday life. So I challenge you as you go out and continue the rest of your school year and then the rest of your life to consider how these strategies can actually affect your everyday decision-making processes.